Hello, everybody. I welcome you to my channel that is Economics to Us. And this is the first video that I'll be recording on it. And I have picked up the topic that is macroeconomics, which is the most used economic stream and topic that and course that we all do every time whenever we are keen or interested in taking up economics as a subject. So the first thing that I'll start up in macroeconomics is to explain about the concepts and its application in the real world. So macroeconomics basically is actually when we take the whole economy in an aggregate position, and when we take the whole whatever changes are going in an economy in total. On the other side, I'll be taking up the videos for microeconomics also, where I'll be telling you about the microeconomic concept, and where else I will be telling you about how the microeconomics and macroeconomics are different. But just for your information, microeconomics is when we talk of the individual behavior, individual changes, that is at the consumer producer level. But when we take the whole of the consumer, or in total the aggregate of all the types of consumers that exist in an economy, we cover that concept under macroeconomics. So macroeconomics comprises of various performance indicators of economy on whole that we will be doing in detail separately. That is GDP. This helps you, that is the gross domestic product, that helps you in telling that how the changes that are occurring in terms of the various sectors, when we total it up, the production of all the sectors, when we total it up, we get the gross domestic product. Similarly, investment, a very important indicator for the economy is what is the level of investment, because on the basis of this only it is decided that whether the economy is able to generate employment or not. So you will find that all these parameters which I will be taking up in my videos separately from time to time are all interlinked and work together to perform for the macroeconomic indicators as macroeconomic indicators. Then there is savings, consumption, foreign exchange rate, balance of payments, inflation, and unemployment. This might be a very basic concept, but it's very important to have an in-depth understanding of these concepts, because this, if you will be clear and in these concepts, you will be able to understand how they play a major role in deciding the economic indicators for the economy, whether there is growth, whether there is depression, whether there is recession. That all can be decided on the basis of these indicators. So my next slide is for the interlinkage. Now the interlinkage that I was just talking about is that all the macroeconomic indicators which I just mentioned above, you can see this in a diagram over here, how they are all correlated to each other. It's like a cyclical activity which is going on. If the GDP is decided on the basis of consumption, investment, savings, interest rate, exchange rate, all have different roles to play in indicating what are the economic situations. GDP has its role because it comprises of all the three sectors together and helps in telling the economic situation. It takes the agriculture sector, producer sector, service sector, and all the sectors together. It helps us in giving us the GDP. Similarly, consumption pattern. So the consumption, what is the consumption pattern? And consumption is decided on the basis of what is the price, or what is the inflation rate in an economy. And inflation is very much again dependent on what is the demand, what is the employment generation level. Employment comes from the investments level. So, and investments are decided on the basis of the interest rates, saving rates. That is the deriving factor for the investments. So see how they are all correlated to each other, and it is very difficult to say that one indicator will function independently. It is not so. They all work together. You will see in my upcoming videos how the correlation exists in technical way also. I was just explaining, since it is the first basic video for the macroeconomic indicators, so I was just explaining to you that what are the indicators and how they are correlated. But yes, for sure we'll be going in depth about these indicators. So I hope with this diagram it is very clear to you that how they are all correlated to each other. Now we come to the gross domestic product. Now that's the first indicator that I was talking to you about, but this is a very, very broad and elaborated indicator because it includes the saving, investment, consumption pattern, everything. So this is what I have tried. Why I have picked up this indicator here is that it is an elaborate indicator, and you can say that it's an inclusive indicator which includes all the other indicators. So GDP is calculated with with an equation that is C plus I plus G plus X minus M. Now C stands here for the consumption expenditure that comes by whatever we as an household or as a producer, whatever consumption we do, okay, for benefiting us, we that's called as consumption expenditure. Investment expenditure, that is symbolized with I, that is tells us about how the investment, what investment expenditures are undertaken. Why are we calling investment as an expenditure here is because obviously whenever out of your total income, when you keep some portion for consumption, some portion for saving, and some portion for investments. Now this portion of investment which you are using is not directly benefiting you at this point of time, that will benefit to you later in years or in some particular time. So you are sacrificing some portion of your consumption or your saving which is directly beneficial to you for your, you're sacrificing some portion of it for your future income or benefits. So that's why it's an expenditure. In that terms it is called as investment expenditure, because you are, expenditure is always something that goes with your from your hand for benefiting you. So it's an expenditure because it's going from your hand, in the terms that you're foregoing some part of your savings and investment to generate this portion of investment. That's why it's investment expenditure. Next is the government expenditure, that is symbolized with G. It helps you in telling that the government also undertakes the expenditure for the economy. There are certain activities like uh, infrastructural development or some schemes which are floated by the government for benefiting the economy, for benefiting the general public, for generating employment, for controlling inflation. Subsidies are provided. So all these things which are being done are done by the government sector, and the government bears an expenditure for it. So that's why it's an expenditure. Next is the net exports. That's a very, very obvious thing that I think whenever we are in an open economy structure, we follow the net exports, that is exports minus imports. And exports minus imports helps us in knowing that how much we have generated from exporting our commodities, whether exports are more expense, we are earning more from exports, or whether we are incurring more expenditure on imports. So this is a very important another factor for us to know about our GDP. So this together, when we combine these expenditures together, we get the GDP, that's the gross domestic product. That's a very, very elaborative and inclusive indicator of our economic growth. Now we come to the point of explaining the relationships that exist in an economy. In a way, telling up how the GDP functions, how the GDP helps you, when and where these components of GDP, how they function. I mean, when supposedly, now I have taken two examples of when the GDP increases and when the GDP falls down. So GDP increases, so this shows that the consumption has increased, and with that increase, investment increases. Now, investment increasing depends upon the interest rates, the government interest rates on loan. What is that? or these, and then obviously when the investment is increasing, then the savings will decrease. So investment increase when the rate of interest on loans have fallen down. That's a very very phenomenal thing, that it's just the demand and supply function again which is coming here. When the price of any commodity falls down, its demand increases. Similarly, if the price, that is the of investment, that's interest rate, falls down, your investments demand or rates will increase up. Now, when the consumption increases, what happens? Yes, that this shows that there'll be more of demand. So obviously, the supply is not up to the mark according to the demand. So this will result into inflation. Similarly, the imports increases. This results to BOP deficit. So when now we in a domestic economy is unable to cover up the demands, we obviously will import goods. The economy will import goods. So your import expenditure will increase, and the BOP, that's balance of payment deficit, will occur. Because balance of payment again is accounting terms for exports and imports. Now we come to investment part again. When investment increases, what happens? Obviously, the capital will be available and investments will be done more. More of companies will be opened up. More of infrastructural development will occur. So unemployment levels will fall down. So GDP increases indicates that all this will happen in an economy. Similarly, on the other side, if the GDP falls down, the consumption levels will also fall down. The investment will decrease. Again, it depends on the interest rates. So if the interest rates are increasing up, the investment level will fall down. It is just the opposite of what is happening in GDP increase. And if the consumption fall down, there will be excess of supply, because now there is no demand, not that level of demand as the supply is. So deflation or price levels will fall down. Again, here the government has to intervene many a times and set a benchmark for those poor producers, especially farmers, who should cover their cost of production if the price is falling down. So here again, government intervention is very very important, and they provide subsidies or extra benefits to these farmers by incurring the expenditures. And if the consumption falls, then exports will also increase due to lower prices that is happening. There will be other countries will obviously be getting attracted towards our commodities, so exports will increase. And here unemployment will also increase if investment decreases. It is just the opposite. Two situations are just opposite. So you can compare here how GDP increase leads to GDP and how it's different from GDP falling down. So these are the indicators. Now I'll tell you about how the GDP components that I just mentioned, what are the indicators of these components, that yes, the consumption expenditure is increasing, decreasing. GDP is one of the things which are indicating that fall and increase or fall is there. But what about the components? How we can decide that this component is reacting for the favorable for GDP or not favorable? So like the consumption component, it is determined by the MPC, that is marginal propensity to consume. Investment, it is determined by two indicators, that is marginal efficiency of capital and marginal efficiency of investment. Government spending, it is determined by the MPC, again that's the marginal propensity to consume, and the taxes and the subsidies rates. Net exports, it is determined by the MPC, exchange rate, demand and supply, price level and trade policies. So these are the ways in which you will determine these components, and I will be taking up all these components in detail in my upcoming videos. So just quickly giving you the marginal propensity to consume indicator. MPC is the marginal propensity to consume, is the per unit change in consumption due to per unit change in income. That is, I have written the formula also. It is dC upon dy. dC indicates change in consumption with respect to dy, that is change in income. And MPC lies between 0 and 1. Now MPC being 1 indicates that change in consumption is equal to change in income. And MPC equals to 0 means that change in income does not lead to change in consumption. I'm sorry, there was error here. MPC being 0 means that change in income does not lead to change in consumption. So here the MPC is 0, that is no changes there. This impact changes in the consumption level, income level, exports and imports level. So this because all these activities or all these components which I just mentioned are all dependent on the on the income levels, on the marginal propensity to consume. What are we consuming out of our income? That is very important to be known about. So here the things are, and if you say that MPC is equal to 1, that is if it is the change is equal, these are might be for those commodities which are there which are important for us, but not very, we just are, they are the rare consumption commodities which we consume rarely. MPC being 0 is that its change in income does not lead to change in consumption, meaning that the consumption levels is not changing due to income. These can be the case of some of the necessary commodities, because if your income increases, for sure you will not increase your consumption of salt because that's a necessary commodity. If your income increases, you cannot start increasing more of chapatis. Do you do that? No. So there, according to the MPC, we can determine what type of commodities are these. So this is the role of MPC or importance of MPC, because this helps you in knowing about your consumption expenditure, income levels, export and import levels. So this is what is the role and importance of MPC. Now, what are the determinants of the level of investment or investment expenditure? According to Keynes, the decision to invest depends upon three things, that is, expected rate of return, cost of capital assets, and market rate of interest. Keynes has summed up these factors as marginal efficiency of capital. And there is marginal efficiency of investment also, which is another component of this investment. And on the basis of MEC, that is marginal efficiency of capital and marginal efficiency of investment, the investment pattern is decided by the producers and the consumers also. This in detail I'll be discussing with you in my next video. So here I end up my video for today. I hope you like it. Please do write the comments what are the things which you didn't like, so that I can improve upon it. And just trying to make economics more easier and applicable for you, and making it more connected to the real world through my channel, that is Economics to Us. And soon the website will also be there for you to have a detailed notes about all these things which I will be telling you through my videos. Thank you so much for your understanding and patience. Goodbye.